This is exercise 14. You can see this is a quite complicated profile with a lot of dimensioning, and we will show you how to draw the contour. So we will select all elements and delete them, and take a look at your CAD exercise document so you can follow what we are doing right here by looking at the drawing of exercise 14. Our reference point will lie in this case in the middle of the shape on the horizontal line, and we will start with the R15 on the left side. We click on the arc coordinates and we will enter an x value of -80, 0, and the radius is 15, and we will start from this angle to this angle counterclockwise, and there we have our first arc. So this is being followed by a tangent line to the next arc with an R of 35, and the center of this arc is the reference point. So we click on the arc coordinates, the center is 0, my radius is 35, and it will start from this angle to approximately this angle. Always look at the example so you can see what your result will be. And we can define a tangent line between these two arcs. Oh, there it is. And we can define the next tangent line only if we draw up the line after that one. So we move to line sketch. The y value of this line is -25. It would start at 100 minus 20, and it would end at 100. There's our line. Now in this case we could use the tangent line function again, as Tensor would recognize that he should define the tangent line between this arc and the start point of this line. So there it is. We can then, if we in this case deselect this part of the chain by pressing the Shift button and clicking on this line, and we can copy or mirror these two elements by moving to Edit Copy, Edit Paste. Always click on Reset so you won't miss any values before clicking on OK. And in this case we will mirror the y values. There's our copy. We could draw a line join. So we have these two chains connected, and to work in a proper manner we would deselect everything and press the Shift button and click on this line, and then we can move on. As you can see, the R20 is a fillet between this last line and the radius of 100, and of this last arc we know all the geometry. The center of the arc in X is, let's see, is 200, is -80 plus 200, which gives you 120. The y value is 61.67. My radius value is 100. It would be a clockwise arc, which would start about here up to here probably. Click on OK, and there's our arc, and we can fillet this corner with 20. You can see a paperclip in this dialog box. This means that maybe you selected some button which you would deselect in this case, and if we look at the dialog box we see a counterclockwise. We could change this into optimal. You will see that the clip will disappear, and we can click on OK. There's our radius of 20. The next element is the R10. As you can see, the R10 is a tangent between a virtual dashed line and the R165. This would mean that from this direction we wouldn't get any further, so we might try to continue from the other side of our contour. So we would reverse our contour by special reverse, so not only direction but sequence is also being altered. So we're over here now. We can draw this line on a value of y15. We can trim this, and the next is the R25, which is a fillet between this line and the R of 165, of which we know the center and the radius. So we move on to our coordinates, reset. The x value would be -80 plus 210 if you look at your drawing, because that's the way it's being dimensioned. The y value of this R165 is 12.8. My radius is 165. It's also clockwise from this point to almost this point. We click on OK, and we will define the fillet in this corner, which is 25. And now we can draw our dashed help line. So we might deselect everything now, and by not selecting anything we can still move to the line angle, and we would enter an angle of 60 and a length of, let's say, 200. We click on OK, and you see that a line is being attached to your mouse cursor, and you can now place your line on a snap point. In this case our reference point is a snap point. We click on the reference point and there's a line. If this would be necessary, we can define even more lines. In this case this would not be necessary, so we click on our right mouse button and it's being deselected. We can now hit the control key on our keyboard and click on this arc. So we have two elements now, and we can define a fillet between these two elements. So we move to fillet and we enter a value of 10. So there's our fillet. So if we would enlarge this corner over here, we would deselect, or we can deselect our line right here. And if we would select this arc, we can trim these elements. Oops, our direction is not in order, so we deselect everything just for this sake, and we would select these two elements and our third element, and we would trim. As you can see, this is not right. It's not what we would like to have, so we move one step backwards, and we can help tens a little bit by altering this small arc of R10. So we move to the modify mode, move to the end of the R10, and we can enlarge the radius a little bit, or make this one a little bit smaller. Don't forget to redirect this arc. So if we try to trim now, we will get the right result. So there's our contour. We can deselect all elements. We could delete this element, or if we would like to keep this line, we could change this with attributes into a contour, into a dashed line. So there's our shape. So try to do the exercise and then move on to the next exercise.